Nice.
Have you had a good day today?
It's only 10:30, but it's shaping up to be a very lovely day. How's your day going?
It's been good, thanks.
Thank you.
So I was wondering, as you directed this film, how did you come across it or get involved with this project?
I got involved with it. A buddy of mine who's a manager said, "Hey, I know this I know this woman who has a script. She's a mom of this influencer," and I immediately was like uninterested in it because I was like, I don't want to do. I was like, it's not from a studio. It's not some big production company. It was just like a mom who had the script, and I was like, he's like, just meet her. I think you guys would get along. So we end up meeting, and I end up just having a great connection with her. And I was like, okay, I'll read the script. I'll check it out. And I read the script, and I thought, oh, there's something here. So I was super excited after reading the script, and me and the writer, Pam, became really tight over a year of rewriting and working on the script. She did about 200 and like, I want to say 40 or 80 drafts. She just kept rewriting. We were both hungry to make something that we felt was exciting and important. So, for over a year, we just kept working on the script. Her daughter Sarah would read the characters. We would act it out loud. We would rewrite. Pam would spend days just reworking it and sending it to me. And I'm like, oh, okay, now we have something. And that was kind of the birth of it. Just a random introduction, and it became almost popular.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so that leads into my next question, actually. Did this story change at all from what we saw in the final version to what you first started with?
Yes. So Pam, the writer, was like, I'm just gonna do like a little YouTube movie like with my daughter. And I was like, and when she met me, I was like, no, we need like let's make it bigger. Like let's see how big we can get this. And the story did change a lot. She did do a lot of rewrites. I feel like it got from where it started to where it ended, it changed quite a bit. But Pam kept that same messaging and same voice in there. We just updated it, added a few elements, rounded out some characters a little bit more. But yeah, it changed a lot from the first draft, which was called um, Nice Girls Not, to the almost popular to what it became. But I'm very proud of how far Pam was able to take the script from when we first started, and I was really excited with it when we got it to production.
And so was it always going to be TikTok, or did it start off as YouTube and then turned into TikTok as TikTok was a later thing?
I think it was always TikTok. I want to say it was always TikTok. I can't remember because you got to remember, Pam and I met over 3 years ago, and I can't remember the first date of the script. But I do,
Mhm.
she would know better, but I do remember it was a social, it was TikTok. And TikTok had
That's
just started at its like peak, I think, about 3 years ago, right before it had
yeah,
changed. I think it was Musically maybe when we first started.
yeah, it was musically. And what was the casting process like for this film?
Okay, so I had worked with Ruby on Ruby Rock, her music video, and Ruby had been a dancer in a bunch of my music videos when I was directing a bunch of kid music videos. So obviously Ruby got a Disney show. She was in Descendants, and I have a photo of Ruby and I in my apartment, and it's on set of like this big music video. I was like, I don't know if Ruby will do it. So we sent the script to her agent. No one replies back to us. So then I go, I'm going to call her mom because I know her mom really well. And I say, hey, I have the script. I sent it, but we haven't heard back. Would Ruby be interested? Ruby was going through a tough time. She had a family situation, and she had some time on our hands. So she read the script and she goes, I love it. I want to do it. So we then had Ruby. I was Then I had messaged Isabella, who DM'd me a long time ago saying she would love to work with me. Well, Isabella started booking a bunch of jobs. She did Love Victor, she did Crush on Hulu, and then she did Netflix's Incoming. So I wouldn't
Mm.
know if she would even take the job, but I said, hey, do you remember when you DM'd me and said you would love to work with me? I have a film and I think you'd be perfect for it. Would you get on a Zoom with me? She gets on, I talk to her about how we're gonna do it, and she goes, I'm in. And then Seth and Seth, our Seth and Ben, our casting directors, helped me find Reed, helped me find Elodie, and then the rest of the cast was partly calling on friends and Seth, our casting director, to kind of put the cast together. Um, I'm thankful he found Reed because Reed was so amazing in the film. He helped us find the
It was very
mothers.
funny.
Yeah, Reed is a scene stealer. He really took it. He took the movie to another level. The whole cast did. Elijah, all these kids, Sarah, who's in the film as well, Pam's daughter. They all just really worked so hard to make this film as special as it is.
The cast are extremely talented.
Thank you.
And was any of the film a set, or was it all real locations? And how did you find the locations for the film?
So that's such a good question, and I'm so glad you said that. The crew hated me because every location I would decline. I was like, I'm not shooting there. I'm not shooting there. Everything is a real location. I love practicals.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because I'm an indie director. I don't get those big budgets to build anything my heart desires. I have to find
Mm.
it somewhere. So a lot of the times I was finding places that were considered like historic buildings so they've been around for 100 years. So it's really hard to get permits for them, and it's really hard to get people to let you shoot there. So the school is an iconic school. It's been in Freddy Krueger. I believe it was in a couple John Hughes movies. It was really popular school to shoot at in the 80s and 90s. So we I don't know how we did it, but we went to several meetings. We talked to the administration and they let us shoot there. Vicky's home was a historical building for 100 plus years. The person who owned the home loved our producer, so he let us shoot there. And the house that Susie and Bobby is a that is actually a production house that is used a lot for like old houses and stuff like that. So that was an empty house that we built, Susie's room in. And yeah, I was just really a stickler on choosing places that I felt worked with the film. I wanted a really timeless feel. So I wanted the locations not to feel modern or anything like that. I wanted them to have a certain character to them. So that was hard because a lot of those places are expensive, and we had to we had to
Mm.
do a lot to get these locations to agree to let our little movie shoot there.
I like the locations in the film.
Thank you, thank you.
And what scene did you find the hardest or most challenging to film or
Oh,
direct?
so I had a rule on the film that we weren't allowed to use Steadicam. I wanted it to all be like dolly and on sticks. So a lot of the walk and talking scenes, the kids had to kind of the walk around the dolly tracks and the camera. It was just I made my life really difficult. So anytime you see them walking and talking, it was literally a nightmare because they had to dodge the track because we didn't have enough money for a techno crane where there's no track on the floor. So the kids would be like glancing down and like tripping and like, okay, let's go back to one. So a lot of the high school scenes, because we had 50, 60 extras and we didn't have the manpower for all these people. So
Mm.
anything at the school, the party scene was a nightmare because the neighbor kept calling the cops on us. So we weren't allowed to make any noise. So the fight scene and the party scene, they whispered it, or they just like when the girl goes, I think she's like, fight. She didn't say a word. She just pretended to scream. And
Oh, well.
everyone is fighting is in complete silence. Every single fight scene when they get thrown on the ground, we're like, shh. And then we had them do all the talking scenes, like we just put them in a corner and just filmed it. But everyone was, we weren't allowed to make noise from like 10 p.m. on, and it was an overnight shoot.
That
So,
must have been hard.
oh, I lost a lot of hair that day.
And did anyone get hurt then, or when
No,
tripping over?
no. Yeah, we had a great stunt coordinator. Everyone was safe. The only person who got hurt was me and my feelings and my and just like constantly just being like, why is this happening to me? But yeah, no, it was a smooth, safe 18 days. It was shot really fast, and the crew and the cast were just super prepared and on it. So I'm just thankful of that. But yeah, we had a lot of hiccups with the locations just because we just didn't have the manpower to kind of control a lot of things.
That's amazing. And what I liked about this film is it has some good cinematography. So can you share more about this, especially the shots where it feels like we are the phone or something like that? or like We Are the Box, if you
Yeah,
know what I
so
mean.
yeah. Ava Ricky, who's my DP. I wanted someone young, fresh, and who had a feminine quality to their work. So I had worked with Ava before, and I asked her if she was interested in, and she sent me this whole deck of what she thought the movie should look like. And then um we spent the next 2 or 3 weeks just going scene by scene and going, how can we elevate this scene? How can we make it better? So I went and watched a lot of films that I thought the editing stood out. Baby Driver, Shaun of the Dead, a lot of Edgar Wright films. And then I watched a lot of films that I just love, like Napoleon Dynamite, um, and Clueless. A lot of these old high school films had a little bit of a style to them, and I knew the best way to separate Almost Popular from all the other high school films was to give it this like stylized indie take on it. So
Mm.
we went through every scene and we just said, how can we elevate this scene? How can we make it just a little bit more fresh? So yeah, I was definitely inspired by a lot of Wes Anderson, Sofia Coppola, um, Edgar Wright, a lot of those filmmakers who add their flair to it. I wanted to do that in my own way, and that's what kind of became out of the movie. One of the proudest things one of the proudest things one of the things I'm proud of the most is the way it's shot and the way it's edited. And that's a big thank you to Jennifer Chung, our editor, who's amazing, who's worked with David Fincher, and Ava, who's just, she's top of her class as far as young cinematographers go.
It was really good to watch and see.
Thank
And
you.
can you share a funny memory from set?
Funny memory.
Or are there too
Um,
many?
you know what? It was such a the house that we shot in, anyone who walked around the house, it was so old that you would hear it up the spine of the house. So that was one. Um, Two, we just the fight scene, like everyone at the party scene whispering, just having
Mm.
75 people whisper, and the LA Film Commission, I believe it was like a sheriff just standing by there, just being like, we got to keep it down, or we got to keep it down, we have to shut it down. And I'm just looking at everyone, I'm like, what the hell? How do I have a party in complete silence? So those were a lot of moments like that. I honestly, every day was a challenge. Every day we became closer, and every day just had immense feeling, a lot of emotional feelings because I was just so ecstatic with how everything was working out. But it was a tough shoot. It was a tough shoot.
And what did you use for alcohol for the party scenes?
Well, definitely no alcohol on this set. I believe they just use I think they use Coca-Cola and water, and then they use like ginger ale and something like that. But yeah, Bobby and Susie had a little bit of jungle juice, but they're good actors, so they played it off
Mm.
very well.
And were there any deleted scenes you can share?
Oh my God. You know what? I believe the movie we cut out about 10 or 15 minutes. And I think what we did was it wasn't, I don't think we cut out a lot of scenes. I think we just shortened them up. Like, hey, this
Mm.
scene's like a minute and a half long. Can we make the scene a half a minute long or 45 seconds long? Like, let's make it tighter. So that was a lot of the stuff. We also probably deleted a few mom scenes that we felt were just funny but not necessary to the storyline. Um, just little clips here and there that we pulled out. We took out a lot of Susie and Vicky's like final showdown. That was a lot longer. But some of the jokes just we felt didn't hit right, so we just kind of slowly pulled back on some of that. But I think it was just combing through every scene and just finessing it just a little bit. So I believe like the parents were supposed to fight at this grocery store, but that didn't make it. Like there's all kinds of little fun little things like that, but I feel every scene did make it. There's just like a shorter version of it in the film.
Which is good in a way that we got to
Yeah.
see every scene in a way. And how did you come up with the outfits and shoes for each character?
So one of the things was since we're an indie movie, I knew I needed something to help tell who these characters are fast, and the heels are such a big plot point in the movie. So I thought, let's focus on the kids' shoes because in high school, your shoe is kind of who you are. That's your
Yes.
character, right? If a kid wears boots, you kind of know he's probably like a little bit more grunge. If a kid wears athletic shoes, he might be an athlete, things like that. So shoes are a very easy way to tell who a person is and their character is. So we did focus on that, and we have that big moment with Reed at the end of the film. So Carla, our costume designer, is a huge costume designer. She's worked with Justin Bieber, Jennifer Lopez, Blackpink. She's dressed the biggest stars in the world. And I told her I just wanted something that felt like I could watch it in high school and these kids could watch it in high school. So it feels a little timeless. It feels a little 80s to 2000s. So
Mm,
I told everyone like let's make it timeless. Let's play with decades and make it because Gen Z really is a generation of like all these decades before it that's kind of created their own. So I think that's how the wardrobe came about. And we wanted earth tones, we wanted colorful, we wanted quirky, we wanted things like that, just kind of very playful um, costuming.
yeah, I like the shoes in the film as well.
Thank
And I
you.
was wondering, can you share what your school experience was like and what parties you went to as a kid or teenager were like?
Yeah, I just was asked this. I wasn't very popular or cool until like my junior, senior year. I was very small. I was like 5'6", 98 pounds in high school. So I was tiny. So I remember my first party where people were like smoking cigarettes and stuff. And I was like, whoa, I'm at a high school party. And then like people were like, you want something to drink? And that was like, I was like, no, thank you. But I was excited to just be
Yeah.
included. And then as I got into junior and senior year where I started to like, I hit puberty, I got a little taller, I started being a little bit more of a social butterfly. I got to experience being like the little runt and I got to experience being, a social butterfly. I wouldn't say I was like Mr. Popular or anything like that, but I definitely feel like every character in the movie I have been at one point in my life, I had been one of them. I had been Susie and Bobby. I had been, um, Dave. I had been a Vicky at some times when I was being not the nicest person in the world. I felt like each character I could draw a little bit of myself from, and because I had such uh, uh, experience of being all kinds of different things in high school, so I kind of fell into my own. So yeah. And I definitely had fun in high school. I definitely went to some parties and I definitely woke up a little bit like Susie and Bobby did in the movie with some throw up cans next to them.
Were the parties anything like the movies in real life or not really?
There was definitely some fights, definitely some drinking, d definitely some. Obviously, the scenes in the movie are like silly and over the top, but I think there was, people handing out stuff. There was drinking, there was like a house takeover when the parents were gone for the weekend. So there was a lot of that. Um, and yeah, I definitely went to a couple parties where there was a lot of people fighting. So I guess you could say a little bit of
Yeah.
that, yeah.
And my final question before I go is what message do you hope people will take away from this film and what would you like to see happen in the sequel?
I hope people take away from this film is to nurture the friendships around you, to not worry about who is what's popular or what's cool, but find your tribe, find your clique, find the people who make you feel like your most authentic self. Numbers and followers and popularity are that goes all the way. Doesn't matter. But true friendships last forever. And then an almost popular too, I say I have two. I would love to go back in time and do the mom stories with young
Mhm.
actors. Or I would like to go to college and see Ruby maybe tackle popularity and see what it was, what happens when she becomes the queen bee, and maybe there's a new rut in town. So there's a couple different ways we would think about it. Um, but also, I love what the movie is, and I love that it's a standalone, and I just hope people give it a shot because I think it's such a cute and endearing movie. And I think if enough kids watch it, I think it will make an impact on a lot of young kids' life, especially ones going into high school and just trying to find themselves.
I really loved the film, and it was
Oh, thank you
fantastic
so
chatting
much.
with you.
Thank you, Daniel.
I hope you have a wonderful day.
You as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye.
Take care.